with OOPS, object oriented programming. Okay, let's start with this. Great. Now till now what we have seen is, first of all we have started with Python. When we started with Python, we were understood the variables, right? Variables means x is equals to 10, right? Then we understood loop, right? Then we understood some list tuple dictionary, for loop, if else, right? And then we came to functions, right? Then we were defining some function like def add. We are giving two input x comma y, and we are returning a value x plus y, right? Why we were writing this function? To modularize the code. We can also write code in a sequence, but we can similarly I can write like this: x plus y, okay, z is equals to x plus y, and print, right, z, right? So I can write code in this way also, but this is more modular way, modular and reusability, right? Okay, similarly after these function we were writing those function into a file, into .py file. If you remember, this is a .py file, for example, hello.py file, right? So in this we are writing multiple functions, def one function, def second function. Why? Again, the modularity and the reusability. So we are keeping our all the functions, as you can see here. We were doing file handling, right? We were doing in a single way. Why are not we creating this as a function, right? So we can create the functions also of such examples, right? We were trying with input pre-process. No, we were trying with copy file, right? We are not creating function here, but still we are writing code in a sequence, but we need to make this code more modular. So whenever you try to make your code modular, right? So first approach is you should think in terms of modules. For example, suppose you are creating one module of math which will have math functions. Okay, other will have functions like other will have functions, for example, related to your matrices operation, right? Matrices operation. Other will have, suppose, your image analysis related, right? Other will have related to your visualization, right? So you have created 4 files: math.py, matrices.py, image analysis.py, visualization.py, right? So first step is to modularize. In modules you can also create in each module. Now in math I need to create 4 functions, for example, addition, subtraction, for example, just I'm giving example, division and multiplication. For these tasks you can create functions. Right? So first you think from the bigger picture in terms of modules, and if you want you can go at much more higher level, like you can think at the level of packages, right? Package means a folder. Suppose this there is a folder like, for example, as I already given you example, PsyOps, right? You want to create some library for scientific operation, right? Some operations for trigonometry, right? And some operation you want to create for calculus, right? And this is your bigger package, this is your sub package. In trigonometry you have your certain files, in calculus you have a certain files. So you can think of your project in terms of start from packages may have sub packages, right? Let me write here in a different way now. So this is the theoretical way that I was just trying to explain you, but the thing is you can start thinking from packages. Each package will have sub packages. These sub packages may have modules, right? Modules means a .py file. packages, or this means this is folder. This is nothing, just a folder, and this is your subfolder, right? Of course it will have one more extra file, underscore underscore init underscore underscore dot py file, but you can think of package, sub packages and modules. Now this each module will have other its functionality in form of functions, right? Small functions. When you have bigger project, you think in that way. Now you don't need to think in only this way, there is other way also. Of course it will have all these things in modules. Instead of writing code in functions, you try to write in form of object, so instead of creating functions, you create classes. Here in class you have attributes and methods are nothing just like function. Methods are nothing just like functions. So now we are shifting to new approach. Now if you are creating a bigger project, try to create a packages as I shown you, right? Pandas package I have shown you, right? In pandas package, if you remember, let me show you. Here you can see, you can write pandas GitHub on Google, right? Then you can open this. This is pandas is a Python library for doing Excel kind of operation, or operation on data set, on tabular data set. All right, so you can see in this pandas we have this pandas.core. Okay, and here we have frame.py. Now in this frame.py we can write our code in terms of functions. Instead of function, they have used the classes. If you see, there is one class data frame, right? So you can think, right? You can see here pandas is a package, core is a package, core is a sub package, and frame.py is a module, and data frame is a class. So are you getting my point, what I'm trying to say here? In package you may have, for example, here you have, sorry, control C, let me take another color, right? Here you have pandas, here you have core, here you have frame.py. Now inside this you can either write your code in terms of functions, you can create your multiple function into same code, or you can write in terms of object, and this whole approach is known as object oriented programming. Object oriented, it means you need to create your code in terms of object oriented objects way or class way, object oriented programming, right? So in case of object, okay, why we want to do this in object oriented, why not other way? In C, if you see, C is procedural oriented programming language, right? Procedural means you only write procedure of functions, you can't create classes and objects, no, in C, right? In C is your object oriented, OOPS based, right? C++, Java, right? These are OOPS based, in which you can create classes, right? So creating classes is more important. Now why we are creating classes, why we need OOPS? The simple answer is, what we want to do is, we want, if you see real world, right? If you see real world, in real world we have real life entities, like for example animal, right? Dog is a type of animal. So dog is an animal, is an entity, dog is an entity, right? So if you see real life objects like book, a book may have its ISBN number, right? ISBN is a unique number for each book. If you see ISBN, right, a book title is there, right? Writer or author name is there, right? So these are basic properties or attributes or properties. Now book also has some functions, right? For example, you can read book, right? Read book, okay. You can sell book, right? Purchase, sale. So these kind of operation you can do. So similarly, a dog has its certain characteristics and operations, or operations or functions are known as their method. You can say them methods, right? So we are talking about things which are real in nature, in real life. For example, let me give you some example. You can check this example here, right? This example might be helpful for you, right? If you see, I am saying phone is an object, right? Phone is an object, right? Phone is an object. Now this object may have some properties, like for example brand, model, color, battery. These all are its properties, and it also have some methods. Methods means its functionality, right? What you can do with mobile: call, text, take photo, and charge. So objects represent real world entities like mobile phone, animal, right, student, book. Any entity you are seeing in front of you, all the real life objects or entity, right? Faculty, government officer, police officer, each of them are entity, right? So these entities are represented by objects. Entities or objects. Entity and object are interchangeable word. Entity and object both are interchangeable word. Both are similar word, right? Okay. So real world entities in programming. In programming, we create real world entities using objects. How we can create that I will explain you. So these objects have properties, methods. Properties are attributes and methods are action. Or action and object can perform, right? Similarly, see another example. A student. You are a student. I think most of you are students. Your name, age, course, grade, these are your properties. But what functionality you can do? You can study, take exam, you can submit assignment, you can attend class. These are your actions. These are your operations or actions that you can perform. So in real life, if you see, there are lots of you want to represent, right? That you want to represent in programming. So ultimately, the OOPs that we are saying, OOP, object-oriented programming, we want to write code or program code based on real world entity, based on real world entities. It means we will not write functions. Of course we will write functions, but we will write functions in a different way. Functions are known as methods. These methods will be associated with object. These methods will be associated with the object. These are not independent, right? Functions are independent. So we try to write our code in terms of object. Object, real life, all the things that you see nearby you, your copy, book, pen, everything is object. So we want to write code based on object. Why? Because we want to make it more real as possible. Till now you are writing functions, creating your list, tuple, dictionary, writing your code in terms of function, you are creating modules, you are creating packages, but still we want this OOPS code based on real life entity or based on objects, and these objects are important. This object way is important because why? We can reuse this. Like for example, car. A car has certain functionalities. So for example, there is another car which is there are multiple types of car, right? Small car, big car, or SUV type. SUV is also a car, right? So when you say SUV, so SUV has some special functionality, but core functionality of car, it has four wheels, engine, one engine, all these things it is taking from car, but it has its own functionality. In real world, although if you see yourself, you have some traits or properties from your parents. So here also we want real world structure in which we will create parent class, and we'll also create base class, right? This class is parent class and base class. So base class will have some feature of this class. So this will introduce reusability, right? So in OOPS we have reusability, modularity, encapsulation. What these are I will explain you, but ultimately what we want is we want to write code in real world examples with real world example, right? Let me give you more explanation with the definition, and then I will give you more examples. I know today's lecture will go theoretical, but if you understand this, it is going to help you a lot. Why? As I told you, it is important from the point of view of interview, and also in some company I have seen a small company. If you go for interview, they first tell you, okay, create a student class, create an employee class. First question will be create a class, create its object, create methods. So this is going to be very important topic. If you implement any project, your code should be in OOPS way, because OOPS offer you reusability.